Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minutes!
Greetings, citizens of Gotham, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the show that lights up your podcast feed 3 days a week like a wonderful audio Christmas tree. Gifts for all. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I am the other host, Niall McGowan.
I am one of your guest hosts, Rick.
And I'm your other guest host, Julia.
From the Mad Max Minute podcast.
Hey! Welcome, guys. How's it going?
Oh, it is a beautiful day here in the studio that is apparently Gotham City.
You guys get to switch from the desolate desert wasteland of Mad Max to see the snow-covered, desolate city wasteland of Gotham City. So,
It's so claustrophobic. I can't see the horizon. There's no sunlight. I feel like I'm trapped in a box.
Ooh, I love that.
I think I have to double check. I'm fairly certain there's only one scene of this film is set during the daytime. It's just perpetually night this whole time. So it's this is. I think they might have had to just put in a couple of daytime scenes for the actor's sanity. Just be look, there you go, there's a bit of sun.
This is exactly, as someone who's never been to America, this is how I picture New York 24 hours a day, basically. This is what it looks like. But yes, hello, everybody. This is minute 7 of Batman Returns, and the minute starts with our stunning ice princess lighting the tree of Gotham, and it ends with a terrifying glimpse of something lurking in the sewers.
Well, I have to say, though, get this out of the way straight away. It's this is the grand tree lighting of Gotham City. And this is she's, may I have your attention, Gotham City? This is the worst turnout for any event in a city center I've ever seen in my life. There's 40 people there. And they're just, half of them just seem to be kind of just idling over. Just something happening? All right, yeah, I'll see you. And just kind of wandering away again.
It reminds me of when that politician came to Liverpool, Niall, and he was trying to woo people by buying them ice cream in the park. And there was about 5 people interested. Nobody cared.
I don't remember that. I would have gone to that just to get the free ice cream.
Yeah, he was trying to take over the Labour Party with ice cream, which is a novel approach, but it didn't pay off.
Well, I mean, if we want to bring up the subject of politicians, it kind of reminds me of a crowd size of a recent large political event that we had over here in America, which was sadly smaller than the previous large political event that we had.
Oh.
But the politician in question, he was always very insistent that his crowd was larger. So I'm sure the mayor's office here will make similar claims that this was the largest tree lighting crowd they've ever had.
What strikes me is there's no children. This is a children's activity. Adults don't care about a Christmas tree lighting up.
That's an excellent point, actually. I hadn't thought about that. There's not one child that I can see.
If there's some indication, though, that there's no children about because people in Gotham City are just terrified. They're not going to come out to a tree lighting ceremony. Most of them probably moved away after, you remember the last big event we had in the street where that friggin' clown guy showed up with the giant balloons and stuff? No, why the hell am I going to this thing?
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think it is, because... Yeah, but then again, Batman has been protecting people, right? It's not like the other sort of Batman franchises where sometimes he'll go away for a few years and only come back when needed. I get the impression, Batman's been around.
Oh, yeah. But it could just be the people who are literally there's some crazy Batman guys flying around flying his friggin' plane into churches and stuff. It's crazy out there. There's no way. No, we're staying in tonight. I'll watch it on TV. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Maybe the kids have a curfew. They're not allowed out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let them out in this city.
Well, it's Christmas time, so it gets dark at 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. True.
So it's probably 5:30, 6 o'clock. Well, then now it's dinner time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess because you do see, like, from the end of the previous minute, we did get like, oh, there's people out shopping and stuff. So I guess, it's not going to be late in the evening unless it's like extended shopping hours or whatever.
I think if you want to be conservative with it, I would say this is happening around about 7 o'clock in the evening, because Alfred carrying those packages means that there are still stores open. And I think stores usually stay open till about 9 p.m. If you're talking about extended hours, maybe 10.
Yeah.
I like that, though, because that means, like, this is, like, dinner time, and Alfred's out, so that means Bruce is having to fend for himself. So when we're introduced to Bruce Wayne, him sitting moping in the mansion, is probably him going, God, I'm so hungry. Like, what the hell is Alfred?
Either that, or he just microwaved a lobster, and he was really just not satisfied by it.
Can you microwave a lobster? That's an interesting...
Well, in the Lego universe, you can.
Yeah, what he specifically has it's like lobster troubadour or something. There's a weird name to the thing. Thermidor, I think it is. Lobster Thermidor.
Yes.
Like if we ever cover the Lego Batman movie in any way, it was like we're going to have to get like a... Well, no, John's vegan, so I'll have to have a lobster Thermidor just to see what it's like.
Can we make a vegetarian version? I'm sure there'll be a way of doing it.
Well, I'm pretty sure crustaceans and things like that fall under the purview of vegan, right? Because they don't really have faces. They just have pointy places where eyeballs are located.
No, nothing like that. I can't eat it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not vegan or vegetarian, but I do not understand why some vegan or vegetarians think it's okay to eat fish or seafood. They're animals too. I don't understand the distinction.
I have this argument all the time, and nobody can ever actually explain it to me. They never come up with a good explanation.
Yeah. But actually, we should mention, though, but the fact that, we briefly mentioned Bruce Wayne there, that you guys have taken these minutes because I believe Julia specifically requested to have moments of the film that Batman isn't in. So
Yes, I did.
This is like, we'll get you out of the way straight away because, before he shows up. Although, to be fair, Batman's not in this movie all that much, actually, if you look at it as a whole.
Yeah, that's the criticism of the movie, isn't it? That Burton just kind of isn't interested in Batman or Bruce, really. Just like, yeah, whatever.
Well, there's not even the slightest hint of him, though, in these minutes. So, there you go. You can feast upon these moments right here.
Yeah, for a movie that's named Batman Returns, he does a very small amount of returning. It's very similar to what you see in Mad Max Fury Road, where the movie is called Mad Max on the Fury Road, and yet we spend most of our time focusing on Furiosa and the wives. It's very similar to how we don't spend a lot of time with Batman, but we spend a lot of time focusing on Selina Kyle.
I do actually have... There's a good documentary, actually, I stumbled across on my way into researching this, and that is one of the frequent criticisms of Tim Burton, is that he's way too focused on the villains. And he actually addresses that in the documentary, where he's like, yeah, people always say that about me, but... his whole opinion of Batman is like, well, he's supposed to be like really dark and mysterious, and like he doesn't say a lot, and he's just sort of in the shadows all the time. So that's the character. Why would I be focusing on him? He doesn't want to be seen. He doesn't want the focus drawn towards him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So he's more like these criminals. They're the ones who want the attention, so they're out there getting it, while Batman's sort of in the background doing his thing. I was like, I guess that's a one way of looking at it, but yeah.
I like that. And it's kind of similar for Mad Max in a way. Like, he's very quiet in most of the movies, isn't he? So it'd be quite hard to bring out a new Mad Max and solely focus on him and not bring in side characters like Furiosa, because it might get a little old. I don't know.
It'd be interesting if he could do like a Mad Max movie that was basically just like a silent movie. It's like him out doing his business, and there's it's like the beginning of WALL-E or something. It's like, what, who's he talking to? Nobody. Like, so there's no conversation happening because there's no one else around.
That's exactly what we saw in Road Warrior. Those first opening 10, 11 minutes is more or less silent because Max is on his own, and he's not going to talk to the dog because Max isn't the kind of person to talk to animals, and he doesn't think out loud, so...
He barely talks to humans.
Exactly.
But anywho, we should get into someone who appears to be much more bubbly and chatty as we get our introduction to the Ice Princess,
Christy Conway.
Yeah. And as we go down, we see here Gotham Plaza, which, these huge, ominous, muscular statues it's got. which appear to be pulling in some sort of giant levers, which I believe is a reference to the M machine in Fritz Lang's Metropolis, which Tim Burton also referenced in the first movie when Jack Napier going around pulling all those levers was supposed to be a nod to Metropolis. There's several other nods to Metropolis coming up in this very week, so we'll talk about that a fair bit. But these guys just look like this is like, you know, the people behind Prometheus were just like, oh, I like the look of these guys. These big, white, muscular... you know that really cool kind of alien engineer elephant thing we were going for way back in the 70s? Let's forget that and just do this instead.
Yeah. I always thought they looked like weird elephant creatures, not like these statues. But obviously we're stupid and we haven't got a good imagination now. Now, I read the Batman wiki, right? As one does when preparing for a show of this type. And it described the Ice Princess quite harshly, I thought. Because the description of her ended with, the Ice Princess was not exactly the brightest bulb on the tree. In fact, she was likely Gotham's dimmest citizen.
Oh.
That's a bit of a bold thing to claim about her.
That's like, I mean, she comes across as a bit sort of mildly ditzy in the movie, but not to the point where you're like, oh, she's a complete idiot. It's just more like she's not somber and serious. She seems to have a sort of more vivacious personality, so she's not just all doom and gloom all the time.
It makes me wonder if the title of Ice Princess is bestowed, inherited, or competed over. Did she have to go through a group of women over a series of challenges in order to come out as the Ice Princess superior?
They had to battle.
Yeah. So yes, as far as we know, though, like that could have been like a reality TV show worth of just like backstabbing and conniving and scheming to become Ice Princess. So as far as we know, this is all an act. This is like she's more like she's playing the long con of like, oh yeah, people think I'm this really ditzy. You know, it's like Legally Blonde or something. It's like, oh, people seem to have this impression that I'm this idiot, but in fact I'm incredibly intelligent, and apparently the Ice Princess is doing all this weird stuff under the table of just like, hey, how do you think I got as far as I've got?
Speaking of doing things under the table, it could also be a title that is just given by the mayor's office, and this is a secretary or a family relation or a mistress or something like that, and this is given to them to appease them.
I have a feeling it might have been like a Miss World kind of thing, because
that's what I thought.
The crowd seemed to really react as if like we know who the Ice Princess is. We all love the Ice Princess. Like this was a thing. Maybe at the start of the winter we voted her in, or like whatever, or the judges we watched as the judges gave it to her, or whatever, because they've got a real appreciation of the fact, you know, the friggin', I guess like the 20-odd perverts who showed up just to see her. Just like,
that's why they're there. Yeah.
Because the only crowd they've got is like, we didn't have an Ice Princess last year for this tree lighting. Nobody came to it, so we gotta do something.
Yeah, she's that all important element of a Christmas tree lighting, that sexual thing, so that way no one walks away with blue jingle balls.
Oh,
I do have to say though, I wonder if this is like, because she's like one of I think 4 if you count the poodle lady, but she never talks. But like, so 3 female characters in the movie, and the other ones, you know, obviously Selena Kyle, then the woman who's rescued by Selena Kyle in the alleyway at one point, and then, you know, the poodle lady, but you know, we don't know whether to count her or not, but. I know she does speak towards the end. So 4 female parts in this movie. And the Gotham they present within this film is that it's a very oppressive, male-led environment because of, you know, the way we see Selena Kyle treated. And then beforehand, the other example of a feminine presence is someone who is there clearly to be objectified by, you know, the crowds and stuff. And I wonder if like the way they've set up this angle of like, we're seeing her as she takes off the coat and sort of shows off her wares, if you will, and they've got these giant, ominous male statues above her, kind of like very oppressive looking, and then these 2 dodgy looking sort of guys in trench coats and hats in the background, kind of looming over her as well. And I wonder if it's supposed to be like, I don't know, subtextually indicating a sort of a domineering male presence within the city. But maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm reading too deeply into that. But
No, I thought the same thing. Like the way they framed the shot and the way the camera's tilted and stuff. They're deliberately there to loom over her, the statues. Aren't they?
yeah. And then very because I can understand those two guys pulling the lever as well. But like this other fella who's just sort of like is his arms up in the air in triumph. What's his deal? Like what's that statue supposed to be about?
The whole concept of the Ice Princess is weird to me because this is another thing that we don't really get in the UK. We don't really have like parades and ceremonies like this where you have like a queen or a princess, or, someone's crowned.
Whoa,
It's not really a thing. We're very boring.
Whoa.
Well, maybe that's why we don't have this because she would object.
There is only one queen.
You can't say, oh, here in the UK, we don't have all of that,
Well, hopefully not for long. I'm treading on thin ice.
Treading on a thin ice princess. Oh, snap.
But no, like we don't have all this homecoming queen, or I don't even really know what that is. I know it's a thing.
I know you experienced the prom king and queen business because of your. John's told me these stories of his prom king, Kevin Rambiki, which was just like, because we didn't have that in Ireland, so I was like, oh my god, you had a prom king and stuff. And I think I told the story
because I went
before.
to school abroad. You don't have that in the UK.
But I think I mentioned it on the show before because I was like, oh, I wonder if he's like this big, muscular jock guy who's really popular. And then I seen a picture of him and he's like the dweebiest looking guy I've ever seen in my life.
Hey, he was considered cool, man.
Yeah, so but we're not here for Kevin Rambiki minute though. That's an up and coming project. So
our special guest joining us now.
We should totally try to get Kevin Rambiki on. We should have got him on for the Ice Princess.
I last spoke to him in 2000. So yeah, that's quite a while ago.
But anywho, we'll also note in the background there we do see a bit of continuity to the last movie because we've got two police officers and they're wearing that sort of borderline sort of SS looking leather trench coat business that the cops in the previous movie had. So I was like, yeah, they've kept up that at least. They're like, oh, we've not redesigned everything. We've got, you remember that from the first movie? That's what the cops dress like. So there you go.
Yeah, you need some continuity. Yeah. As much as Burton might have wanted to just reimagine the entire thing.
Yeah. But of course the Ice Princess takes off her coat and sort of does a triumphant display of herself, and then pushes the button, turns on the Christmas tree. I did think there was a little bit of like interpretation. Except in the script, as you read it, it reads more like she says like, "I'm going to turn on the tree. How about that?" And then in the film, it's more like she takes off the coat, everyone's wolf whistles her, and then she's like, "How about that?" Like showing off. She's talking about herself rather than, "Hey, I'm just going to turn on the tree."
Behold, gentlemen, I have breasts and shoulders.
Yes.
I bet you weren't expecting that.
I was expecting some sort of like Total Recall sort of creature coming out of her, but like, how about that? Like, holy
Kuato, is it?
Start the reactor. But anywho.
Oh my god, now I really want that in the movie. Can someone like Photoshop Kuato onto it?
But and then of course we get the we wish you a Merry Christmas, and like you hear that enough times in a year. So
do you guys know the history of We Wish You a Merry Christmas? I mean, it is from your homeland, so.
One of those things you probably did learn at one point, like in school, like coming up to Christmas, but the information has been scrubbed clean from my memory by sheer not caring. But
no, I actually don't know. I mean. Again, I was probably taught it, and I tried not to pay any attention in school.
Well, I found a little blurb from thoughtco.com where they were talking about the history of the We Wish You a Merry Christmas. It's an old English folk song from the 1500s and is the remnant of a time when poor carolers would hit up wealthy listeners for handouts. It's a cheeky tune which recognizes the dynamic between rich and poor, calling for figgy pudding and refusing to leave the wealthy person's doorstep until someone is delivering that food right there. It's an awfully ardent demand for a Christmas song, so it's meant to be sung with a certain degree of joshing. As Old English Christmas carols go, there are very few which mention the New Year coming a week after Christmas, and this is interesting mostly because January 1st wasn't considered the New Year in the Western world until the 1700s. So in light of that history, it could be that the "and a Happy New Year" line was not added until later. Perhaps the most folk-friendly version on record of "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" came from the collaboration of John Denver and the Muppets.
Yeah.
However, a number of other artists have recorded the song throughout the years, from Japanese punk outfit Shonen Knife to indie pop band Weezer, not to mention a number of choruses and symphonies. The song's most popular mode of performance, however, remains that of the nameless, faceless Christmas caroler, who continues to go door to door each and every holiday season. The song's oral history is probably its most compelling, as it survived centuries of passing down from caroler to caroler before it was ever recorded.
That's amazing. That's great. And now all I want to do is listen to Shonen Knife.
Yeah.
I am currently looking at a Shonen Knife poster that's signed. Oh, it's right in front of where I record, so that's made my day. I forgot all about them doing that. We're going to have to put that on the group now. Even though it's not Christmas.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, the amount of stuff, though, because this whole... We've kind of damned ourselves to, like, a movie set at Christmas. We're going to be talking about Christmas until, like, into the middle of next year, pretty much.
I think, though, that potential for the Happy New Year bit to be added later makes sense, because it doesn't really fit. They just it comes in out of nowhere, like, and a Happy New Year. It's just sort of tacked on.
Well, you tack that on just in case the house you're in front of is Jewish. They come to the door, they're wearing the yarmulke, and you're like, "Ooh, boy."
Well, that's the thing, though, because once you get... If you don't have "and a Happy New Year," where does it go, though? Because it's like, "We wish you a Merry Christmas, good tidings." Like, it's like there's a thing missing. You're like, where you kind of be built up, and then you just drop down to nothing. Like, where was it going?
There'll have been another line there that like a little funny joke or something, I think.
Something
that would fit the songs from the time.
It would have to be something particularly British. You know, "We wish you a Merry Christmas, pip pip cheerio."
Yeah, I'll work with that.
I was thinking more typically British in the way we're very insulting to people. to be nice to them, though. Like if you're friends with someone, that's when you insult them. So if you're trying to be nice to someone, you usually just throw insults at them. they might give you something, to be like, "Oh, that was funny. There you go."
Oh. So, are either of you disappointed by the size of this Christmas tree?
No, it's pretty impressive to me. Like, I don't... Again, we do get, like, big Christmas trees in shopping centers and stuff over here, but, like, I wouldn't really seek them out in any way. So to me, this is like, yeah, it's a pretty impressive looking Christmas tree.
I like it. The one here at the moment that they put up in town, there's one that's smaller than this, and then there's another one which isn't even a real tree. It's like an art installation that lights up. So it's like, I don't like that. I want this. Bring this here, please.
Because I'm under the impression that Gotham is supposed to be New York-esque.
Yeah.
The DC Universe's version of that. Or whatever that's supposed to work out
but
to.
I think it's sort of concurred in the comics that, like, Metropolis is New York, so Gotham is New Jersey. Was supposed to be the thing that's, and that's why I think, like, we'll get to him in a second. The paper boy, he sounds like he's got a really Jersey accent to me, anyway.
But when you talk about the height of Christmas tree, the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree is 94 feet tall on average.
Whoa.
56 feet wide.
Oh my god.
But
and it's a real tree.
And it's a real tree.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's not fake.
But when did they get that? Did they see Batman Returns and like, the hell with that? We're going to beat that friggin' tree.
I have a feeling that Tim Burton probably saw Rockefeller Center and said, "Oh, we'll just have the large tree in front of the column of windows. It'll look just like Rockefeller Center." And then they blew all their money on statues. And they said, "Oh, crap. We don't have enough for a tree."
That's why we're getting so many low angles. It's just like making the tree look like it's really, really big, okay?
That's probably what it is,
But speaking of the low angles, though, we do get a little shot here, kind of harkening back to the opening of the movie, where we get these gloved flippers clinging to bars, much like the bars of the cage of the child that was thrown out earlier in the film. So I wonder if there's any connection between these two characters.
God. Could there be? Could there be? What is this thing?
We'll find out in about another 20 minutes, I think. I do like that as well. Like I always remember this being like a real. When I watched this film when I was a kid, I remember really loving this shot, this kind of ominous, like. Oh, I always appreciate that in any fiction when they have a bit of like lingering on something that's indicating what's to come. Like it's a real thing that Stephen King loves to do, where he'll have like characters have a dream about something that's coming up near the end of the book. So you're kind of like, oh my god, what's this? Oh, what's happening? Like, what does all this mean? Really sort of teases you a little bit. And so yeah, I really love just the fact that there's like all this ominous sort of music and seeing the flippers, and you're like, oh, I think I know what this is. And yeah, I've always appreciated that. So
No, I agree. I'm a fan of that. But we also, something else I'm a fan of, we get some Alfred, baby.
yeah, he's back.
He's back.
Yeah,
He's still ticking.
It seems like a happier kind of Alfred. He's wandering about doing his business, a little smile on his face and stuff, and maybe he's just appreciating some time out away from Bruce Wayne for a little bit.
Well, who do you think he's shopping for? Is he shopping for Bruce, or does he perhaps have a lover?
Oh, I didn't even consider a lover. I was just like, it might be just like Bruce is like, get something for yourself. Like, this is a real
Treat yourself. Treat yourself.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to have to leave the house to get you something. So
These are probably gifts for, Bruce's secretary, his business associates, their families. Bruce goes around the office on Christmas and drops little presents on their desks like some sort of Santa Claus, so when they come back from their winter break, oh hey, look. Or it's before Christmas, obviously, and because they're probably lighting the tree in early December, but he's going to drop these as kind of a winter bonus thing where they all get to be part of the Jelly of the Month Club.
yeah.
Oh, yes.
Don't mention the Jelly of the Month Club. Me and John, we were on that show. Not for those minutes though. So
No, sadly. Oh, now I want some kind of veggie jelly. But which is very nice.
I will say that actually the little note though is that in the Dan Waters original draft, it specifically says that Alfred has a T-Rex, like a little toy T-Rex in his bag. And I'm wondering, I'm assuming that must be like a reference to the giant T-Rexes in the Batcave, because like you don't see that in the movie, but that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's iconically, the Batcave has a big Joker card, a giant coin, and a big dinosaur. So I'm assuming maybe that's what he was getting at, or because this is the Christmas of '92. He knows that within the next couple of months, Jurassic Park's going to be coming out. So he's like, I'm getting in early. Well, he's buying up all the Jurassic Park merchandise. He's like,
oh, he's one of those jerks who bought all the Buzz Lightyears.
Yeah. He's like, I'm telling you, sir, this Jurassic Park business is going to be big.
He's bought stocks in the... Who made Jurassic Park? I'm racking my brain here.
Universal, wasn't it? I think.
Universal.
I thought he was like, Steven Spielberg, you idiot. What the hell?
No, I know the bloody director.
It'll be great, though, if it was like T-Rex from like Super Mario Brothers instead. He's like, no, I'm telling you, sir, this is going to be the superior dinosaur-based film of 1993.
I mean, why was that movie dinosaur based? Can I just ask?
I think Yoshi's a dinosaur, so I guess maybe that's what they're going with it.
Yoshi's a dinosaur. I mean, what's Bowser? Is he a dinosaur?
He's a big lizard guy. So
Giant turtle monster, yeah.
Yeah, they're more turtles than dinosaurs, aren't they? Lots of turtles.
They outright make him a T-Rex in that movie as well. Like they just like, we're ignoring this whole turtle aspect. Screw that. We're just making him a T-Rex because clearly Spielberg's making a dinosaur movie. He knows where it's at, so we'll have to rip off him.
No, I'm still adamant that Alfred has a secret lover.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get away from Bruce all the time to see this partner, but he can't. This is his one time he's bought some presents, and he's probably not going to get to deliver them before Christmas.
So remember, though, in the first movie, we kept talking about like how taken Alfred was with Vicky Vale, and Bruce is all like, oh, Alfred, why don't you marry her and stuff. What if?
Maybe he did.
Yeah, Bruce and Vicky are broken up. Alfred's out by himself buying a couple of things. He's doing a little. He's waiting until he tells them, but he's like, "Me and Miss Vale, we've a stat. We had a rapport before. I'm sure you noticed. And now that she's free, we've hooked up. I'm sorry, sir, but I choose her."
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That'd be so good.
That'd be great. That was the plan for like Batman 3. It was like there was something about the Riddler in there, but the main focus of the plot was the fact that Alfred had hooked up with Vicky Vale, and like Bruce felt this is a grand betrayal and stuff. But yeah, and then of course we get another little nod to the previous movie with a close up of the Gotham Globe, which is of course where Vicky Vale and Alexander Knox worked. So there's a few little tidbits they'll give you of like, hey, remember this is the sequel to a movie that you saw previously.
I like your choice of words as well. Worked past tense, because not one mention of them.
Yeah.
Never
Nothing.
seen or heard from again.
Nope. Which is upsetting because it spent so much time establishing these characters, and Tim's just like, nope,
Yeah, well,
they're gone.
We do get a mention of Vicky later on, but Knox.
Oh, a brief.
I guess
brief
Knox is like, sure, who cares? They're just like,
well, I care. I care.
Do we know how much time has passed between the previous movie and this one?
no, I don't think it's ever been. Oh, they could probably check like the novelization, maybe they say, but no, I always just took it to be like there's probably like the period of time between the movies, so it could be like we know
3
it's
years.
definitely it's been long enough that there's a new mayor anyway, so that's at least what like a couple like a year maybe, or because that in the first movie it's not talking about campaigning or anything, so
So he might. Yeah, that's a good point.
yeah.
But the script doesn't. It doesn't specifically mention, does it, how long it's been?
No.
Do either of the drafts that we've got? I don't think the drafts do either.
No, I don't recall it ever bringing up the fact that like, oh, this is supposed to be like 3 years later or a year later, or like this is the Christmas of that year or whatever. So,
I'll be honest. I thought it was like 2 years, maybe.
but anywho,
So this paper boy.
yeah, the paper boy, all about that paper boy.
Yep, he's doing a pretty good job. He's standing out on the street, selling papers and things like that. But what bothers me is that just 3 months before Batman Returns hit theaters, another movie was released in theaters back in April. And it was Disney's film version of the musical Newsies, starring a certain Christian Bale.
Yes.
If I could go back, if I could turn back time, if I could find a way, I would go find Marion Doherty and have her get Christian Bale for the role of the Paperboy, just
God,
for the
yes.
sole purpose of us being able to say, "Oh, hey, this is a Batman movie with not one but 2 Batmen in it."
Oh my God, that would have been absolutely incredible. And this is like the 3rd time on our show someone's brought up Newsies. So this is fantastic. Not in this film, in the last film, but yes. And that would have been absolutely perfect.
Well, it's like they say, it's a fine life carrying the banner for them all.
It's a good thing that like time travel powers aren't granted to like film nerds, because clearly we'd all waste them. But like that's what I'd do. I'd get Christian Bale cast in Batman Returns. I wouldn't try to like change the course of history in any significant way to make things better. It's like, no, I'll just do this so we can have this bit of trivia we can mention on the show analyzing Batman Returns. They go,
Hey, Niall, are you suggesting that wouldn't make the world better?
no, well, we'll never know unless we get time travel powers. But then if that were to happen, would it not already be Christian Bale in this part? So, makes you think about it. And you guys, you all know who who the paper boy is?
It's Sean Whalen.
Yeah.
He's the guy from the peanut butter commercial.
That's right. Yeah, that was one of the things I was like, thank God we have an American people on here to talk about this, because again, I know that this was an iconic like ad campaign of the Got Milk, the peanut butter. Apparently, it was a very famous advert directed by Michael Bay.
I don't remember
Seriously?
the trivia that he was trying to answer.
Oh, who shot
Oh, was it?
Andrew Jackson? Andrew Jackson?
No,
Oh, I thought you were going to say Mr. Burns.
no, it's
It was
weirdly enough, considering it's so popular at the minute, it's actually Alexander Hamilton. That's
right. So he's
it
got
was-
the mouthful of peanut butter. He's trying to say Aaron Burr.
Yes.
yeah.
But
yeah.
he's like, "Rrr." and his house is covered with Alexander Hamilton and Aaron Burr. He's like the proto Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Definitely, yes.
I wonder if they ever do like a Lin-Manuel Miranda biopic. They should get Sean Whalen in to play him, just for like a little bit of continuity.
Oh, I think the United States Milk Council should just do a re-release of that commercial starring Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh, that's actually a really good idea.
And just do a shot-for-shot remake.
Oh, you should totally get on them on Twitter and be like, here's an idea. You can have this for free or pay me, whatever. But but you should totally
give you $10.
Because like, I know living in Ireland, we didn't have Got Milk as a campaign, but I knew of it because it was referenced so much in like other things. And eventually, over the years, I knew that like, there's supposed to be this one where the guy is eating peanut butter and he can't say the answer to the phone. And then it's like, that's him, that's this guy. But Sean Whalen's IMDb list is actually quite impressive, weirdly enough. Because I thought he's got to be nobody, but he's been in loads and loads of stuff. And
he was in an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, starring Danny DeVito.
Indeed.
Yes, everything's connected.
Yeah. And he was also, his first role was in that Ferris Bueller TV show that only had the one season. But he's in, he's a little bit of a kind of, one episode wonder. Like he's in like, an episode of Lost, an episode of NYPD Blue. But he's been in at least 3 movies with Drew Barrymore. So I'm assuming like he must be like, maybe he's friends with her or something. But because he's in Charlie's Angels as someone called Pasquale. Don't remember that character.
I don't remember that film.
He's in Never Been Kissed, classic. And then he's in the absolutely crazy early 90s Drew Barrymore movie Doppelganger, which is like, oh my god, Doppelganger is just nuts. Because it's awful, but it's like, it's worth watching just to get to the end of it. Because it's like, it starts off like this really boring kind of borderline porn movie where it's just like, it's weird mysteries going on and there's a lot of sex and stuff. And then at the end, Drew Barrymore turns into like a Cronenberg-esque monster, like out of nowhere. It's just like,
what?
The movie's got this now. And it's actually an amazing practical effect of her metamorphosing into this like weird worm thing, and then it splits in 2 because there's 2 of her. So one's the doppelganger, obviously. And but this is out of nowhere. It's just like, this movie's so boring. Holy crap! What the hell has happened? And it's like. And everyone in the room is just kind of standing staring at it. And like, this would be the most frightening thing you've ever seen in your entire life. Because it's properly like Jeff Goldblum falling apart in The Fly level of like animatronic, special effects. And it's insanely well done. But apparently Sean Whalen is also in that movie.
Did David Lynch make that by any chance?
But also, he's actually in, speaking of dinosaurs, he's in Tammy and the T-Rex as well, which is, I think me and John watched that one night, where it was Paul Walker gets murdered by a guy, like he's going out with Denise Richards. He gets murdered by a guy, and they put Paul Walker's brain in an animatronic T-Rex.
Well, why not?
Yeah, that's like the T-Rex and Tammy, they could never be together, or can they?
Well, he was also in one episode of Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, so another DC property.
Oh, it's working his way up. He's jumping from Keaton to Dean Cain.
It sets up a possibility for a Dean Cain as Superman, Michael Keaton as Batman crossover universe because of this shared actor.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about this a couple of times, like especially in the last movie. If they made these 2 films now, everything in the background would be a reference to something like Superman. Like those headlines you see on the newspaper there would be about Superman and all kinds of things, to do little crossovers, and there'd be, I don't know, you'd have something about, I don't know, the Green Arrow and
yeah. But instead we're still getting it's borderline kind of National Enquirer, like Penguin, Man or Myth, or something worse, which is. That's a pretty good headline. That'll get me like, oh my god, or something worse. What the hell could it be?
I feel like Myth covers all of the miscellaneous options that fall outside of man, so I'm not quite sure what that or something else could be.
Yeah, what the hell? Because, I mean, if he's an alien, I mean, that would probably come under Myth.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But I also mentioned this briefly again, though, because Sean Whalen actually has 2 other connections to the Batman universe, in that he's in Suicide Kings with Chris Walken, And he's also one of the people at the karaoke in The Cable Guy with Jim Carrey. So
Yes.
there you go. This guy's entrenched in Batman, and yet this is the part he got. But
I'm a defender of The Cable Guy, even though I'm now not such a big defender of Jim Carrey as a whole.
yeah,
For many reasons. But I always liked that movie. I never had a problem
I
with it.
always thought The Cable Guy would have been better as a straight drama. Like it's the male version of Single White Female. Basically, it's like this guy's getting really creepily obsessed with him. But then because Carrie's kind of wackying it up a bit. And it's like, this isn't really suiting the tone. Like, you've got this nice dark tone going throughout the rest of it, and it's a bit tense. And yet you've got this kind of crazy comedy character with this really exaggerated lisp and stuff, and like things where he's lying talking and a spider just crawls up across his face, and it's like, it's creepy, but it's like silly creepy. It's just always thought it was a bit of a weird juxtaposition for me personally, at least anyway.
That's what I liked about it. I was a twisted child.
But yeah, of course, we got Paperboy here doing this whole, hey, missing link between man and boy.
Yeah, can I just stop you there? Because that really puzzled me. Missing link between man and bird. Did anybody ever suggest that there was a link between man and bird? That's not a thing. But birds and man don't evolve from each other. Like people say there's the missing link between apes and humans. That makes sense. Not man and bird.
Maybe this is like a new scientific finding, though. Like, apparently maybe humans did come from birds, and this guy's the proof.
Okay.
It could be that the Paperboy just fundamentally misunderstands the idea of Vegas showgirls. Like, he sees all these women wearing feathers, and he's like, man and
that's what it is.
bird.
Because they might not be the big... I'd posit, instead of the Ice Princess, this guy might be, like, the dimmest of the Gotham citizens, because, like, I looked up Sean Whalen's age. He's 27 here. It's like, you're still a Paperboy? Jesus Christ, dude. Get a move on. You gotta start...
The job market's difficult, man.
Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on the Paperboy here, but, like...
I mean, it was the early 90s. Housing was a bit more affordable. You could theoretically get a small studio apartment selling papers for 25 cents a blow.
This is what movies and TV gave me really weird expectations for life, because I grew up thinking, I'll just get like a job, I'll work 3 days a week in a coffee shop, and I'll buy a house. But it doesn't really work out like that.
No.
Well, note though that the man or myth or something worse is in the Dan Waters original draft, but it's even more embellished by the Paperboy, who's doing probably a much better job of selling the story, actually, because he actually says, sir, read about the latest sighting of the penguin creature. Says here he derailed a trolley car into a modeling school for gifted children and then blew up a church. That's one. If that was someone told me that, I'd be like, all right, well, you say 50 cents? Okay, yeah, I'll buy that.
I'll take it.
But of course, Alfred, he believes it's a digression to reach this rubbish. So,
Okay, so is Alfred anti-journalism or just more of a Daily Planet reader?
Oh, now, I was thinking he's not into fake news. He's,
Do you imagine that Alfred has an old AM radio there in the kitchens of Wayne Manor and he listens to the BBC radio news?
Absolutely. I mean, can you get the BBC? Oh, you can get BBC, the World one, can't you? The World Service, is it called? You can get that in America, at least.
I think BBC America is like a big deal, because I think that's how America's got like Doctor Who and stuff. So, but that might have been a more recent development, though. That might have been around in the early 90s. But yeah, I gotta imagine. Yeah, he's like, I'm trying to think of like who was like early 90s BBC news presenters. I was like,
oh god,
it's like I would have saw them at the time, but like they've not stuck around in my memory, unfortunately.
But see, Alfred though wouldn't sort of tune into BBC Radio 1.
Yeah.
Now this isn't going to make sense to the American listeners, I don't think. But what station do you think he'd be on now? It'd be like a Radio 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say Radio 4. Yeah, but
he's a Radio 4 man.
A bit more. Yeah, I can imagine he's got like the Archers on and stuff like that. Like he's a bit more, proper in his.
Radio 4's the classy one. You see, it's they might play classical music, and Radio 1 just plays like here's Rihanna.
Yeah.
It's like, obviously not in the early 90s, but
Rihanna with her hit song "Umbrella." Who uses an umbrella in this movie? Oh my God, the Penguin! It's like we're connecting it all together. We do get. I actually thought though maybe this is like a new and improved Alfred in that like he's now got the whole keep things under your hat business. So you pretend like you don't care about this penguin thing. Because in the first movie, he was all like, couldn't lie to save his life. Like, you know, Vicky Vale's like, oh, I'll see you when you get back. And it's, oh, we'll be around for quite some time, miss. Like, dude, cover. You're Batman's butler, and you just can't tell. You can't keep a goddamn secret. And it's like, oh, by all means, go into the Batcave, miss. You know, so it could have been in between movies. Alfred's been sort of re-educated, and now it's like, like Bruce Wayne,
re-educated, like a North Korean camp.
Yeah, it's like Bruce Wayne is actively investigating the Penguin now, and he's like, don't even if anyone approaches you about him, say you don't know anything. You're not even interested in him, all right? Don't say, oh, my boss has a lot of information on the Penguin because he's been looking into him because my boss is Batman. You know, because.
See, I've just got visions of Bruce throwing him down like a well, and until he lies for him, he just starts spraying him like a cat or a dog. You know, like, psh, lie, damn it.
It's like telling him to put the lotion in the basket and all that stuff.
Elder abuse. It's terrible.
But yeah, you know, I remember as a kid, this line meant nothing to me because I couldn't quite make out what he said. Because he says, oh, it's digression to read such rubbish. And as a kid, I had no idea what a digression was. So it's only in recent years I've been like, what's he saying? It's a digression.
No, it's a diversion.
Oh, I thought he said digression. Oh, so you're saying diversion?
Yeah.
All right.
He says, my dear boy, sometimes it's a diversion to read such rubbish. Most of the time, it's a waste of time.
I think we're gonna have to get into. I'm gonna have to look to see if this is digression or diversion. We'll put it to a public vote. People of the world, diversion or digression.
I think it leads to the same result, though. He's basically saying, like, it's a waste of time in that he is someone. If he's going to read, he wants to learn, doesn't he? He's not just going to read gossip. He probably sits just thumbing through encyclopedias for fun.
But we'll also know as well the idea of a paperboy announcing that, like, hey, something's going on in the city. Apparently it was a frequent thing that was done in early Batman comics. Like, that was the way that usually it opened. It would be like, the Joker's got out or something like that. So it could be that the incorporation of this paperboy is a nod to that. So I'll just put that there as a thing that should be said.
Exposition via low-paid worker.
Yeah, exactly. We also get then, like, Alfred steps off and almost steps onto the flipper of the creature that dwells underneath. And we got a kind of, I thought it sounded like a bit of an E.T. sound effect, this kind of weird grunt that the penguin, flat I'd say it's the penguin underneath him. But
oh, spoilers!
I had no idea.
And that's kind of where we cut off. Like, it's sort of between, that's sort of the end of the minute, pretty much. So, and you guys, you have anything else you want to bring up about this particular minute, or?
I just had a few connections that I wanted to make between the characters that we saw this minute and our franchise, the Mad Max minute.
Oh, yeah.
Christy Conaway played a character in 1996's Underworld named Julianne. The Underworld wiki that I found didn't have any articles describing her character, but Underworld is also the name of the power station in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Yep.
The paperboy, Sean Whalen, has a frankly insane filmography, as we were talking about earlier, but he was also in 1995's Waterworld as a character named Bone, which of course is Road Warrior but water instead of desert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you probably mentioned in seasons past, Alfred, Michael Goff, is it Goff or Go? How do you say it?
Apparently it's supposed to be like cough, so like a Goff.
So Michael Goff was in a TV miniseries called The Citadel, which is what Immortan Joe's fortress is called in Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, the only thing I had was I forgot to say Christy Conaway, who plays the Ice Princess. After we described how the Batman wiki just slated her left and right, she actually described her character slightly differently, and I liked this. I thought this was a nicer way of putting a similar thing. She described her character by saying, I don't think she's particularly well read, but I think she's read every issue of Vogue that was ever published. That's a nicer way of saying it, isn't it? That's what the wiki should say.
But, that Batman wiki's harsh, man. Like, it's like it's a bloodbath in there sometimes.
they're not pulling any punches.
No. That's the only other note I had was in ad ednum, if that's the way you say that, because I did, I'm doing random bits of research all over the place, and I remember in last week's minutes we were talking about the fact that Chris Lebezon is now Tim Burton's go-to editor. And I was reading an interview with Daniel Waters where he says, I got him the job in Batman Returns, and now he's Tim Burton's editor. So apparently they worked together on Hudson Hawk. So that's how he's I introduced Chris to Tim, and now they're best friends and stuff. So just thought I'd add that in as a bit of oh, that's nice. Because the people friends were made on this movie. So
yeah. Oh, that's a nice way to end the minute, which has overran massively for such a lack of action. But before we do go into the dark, dark night, would you guys like to tell our listeners where they can find you and Mad Max Minute on the internet?
Certainly. Julia, do you want to tell them about us?
Sure. You can find us on our website at madmaxminute.com. You can find our podcast on iTunes and all the other, I don't know the places you can find us. Rick, why don't you take over?
I never remember any of ours, I'll be honest.
We are on iTunes and Google Play. You can also find us on Twitter at Mad Max Minute and on Facebook by searching for Mad Max Minute, where you'll find our listener page, Mad Max Minute Beyond Microphone.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, do check it out because it's great, and we are also on it, so that's not so great because we're a mess. But if you enjoy our beautiful mess, then you can join us again on Wednesday because we'll be back with more Batman Returns. And in the meantime, if you want to talk to us or get in touch or just chat nonsense, anything, doesn't even have to be about the movie, then we're on Facebook at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, and we're on Twitter at Bat Minute. And you can just find us everywhere. We're on Instagram as well. And make sure you review us on iTunes because that's a nice thing to do. And you want to be a nice person, don't you? You want to be an Alfred. You don't want to be a Max Shrek, who you might not know yet.
No, you might know him pretty soon, though.
You might know him soon. But yes, join us again on Wednesday for more Bat Minute Returns.
Next time, taking it to the max. After staring at the sewer for things untoward, our surveying camera is suddenly flung skyward. But beneath the rotational head of power, who will give a heck about the plans and plants of the unscrupulous Max Shrek? Find out Wednesday, same bat pod, different Bat Minute.